So to officially get us started, my name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this evening. And I want to welcome everyone here to our program. Today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's May the 2nd, 2023, and it's just a couple minutes after 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It might be 5 minutes after by now. But you've been invited to hear this presentation. We call this presentation, we've kind of adjusted the name a little bit, but it's feeling better. Feeling better is now a choice. Feeling better is now a choice. It used to be that we had to just settle for whatever we are becoming, especially as we start to age. Just get used to the fact that pain is going to be part of life. Get used to the fact that can't run as fast, can't walk as fast, can't sit as long, can't stand as long, can't do anything like we used to be able to do it. But now, feeling better is a choice. And it's good to know that there are options, and we're passing that on. This information has not been evaluated by the FDA. And only the FDA can declare something to be a treatment or cure for disease. So we're not making any claims that any of the products that we're talking about will be a treatment or cure for disease. We're not saying that they will heal. The testimonies that you're going to hear are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Results are atypical. So this is for information and educational purposes only. I'm not a doctor, so don't do anything I say because I say it. Strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. And but this is information you can take into consideration when making decisions about your health and well-being. So keep that in mind as we proceed. But I want you to hear Adelina's story, Adelina Williams' story. And to set the stage, Adelina was a client of ours. She goes back a number of years, more than a decade, as a matter of fact. And the first time I met Adelina, she called up the office and she says, I've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. My question to her was, do you want to live? She said, that's why I'm calling. I want to live. I said, seriously, do you want to live? She says, I want to do whatever it takes to live. I said, okay. And we started her out on a program, which was a radical diet change for her, and added certain supplements to her life. This is long before we had access to Micro Daily. And I got a phone call about 2 years later, and a woman says, hello, my name is Adelina Williams. Do you remember me? I said, I'm sorry, no, the name does not even ring a bell. I didn't remember who she was, not from the name. She said she connected me to that initial conversation, because part of the conversation, I asked her what her favorite dessert was, and she described it. And I said, well, hold on to that memory. That's the last time you're going to have that. She says, oh. I said, well, you said you wanted to live, so we got to cut sugar out. Anyway, she reminded me, connected me to that moment, and that's how I was able to recall who she was. I said, oh, you had stage 4 cancer. Oh, how are you doing? She says, doctor says I'm cancer-free. And I just want to call up and tell you that. And she was so excited that she was out of it. She was no longer had the cancer, so she was completely in remission. She had beaten the cancer, and her whole support network had rallied to her story, to her case, because they wanted to help her to live. Now, put that into context and realize where she is now. Okay, so we sort of pick up the conversation. This is years after that, where she has been now introduced to Engage Global and Micro Daily. Okay, so that sort of sets it up for you, so you kind of understand that we had a relationship that transcended Engage Global. Okay, so here we go. Let me see if we can get this to play for you. Go ahead. We'll hear your story. Please tell us.
Well, first, I'm so happy that you suggested the EMF, because I got on that, and that has been just a huge difference with me having so many things that I was dealing with. So the EMF has been wonderful. I had swelling in my legs and ankles and feet. They were badly swollen. I got on the EMF, hadn't had a problem at all. I wish I could send you. I can send you a before and after.
Yeah, please do. You had strength in your Oh, so that's like form of lymphedema.
Yeah. I mean, it was really bad.
Oh,
And
wow.
hadn't had any episodes with my sarcoidosis. It's been weird, no problem. The asthma, no problem. Haven't used the pump thing, the inhaling thing for, I know, about 8 months, I guess. Not on any of the gabapentin or any of that. Don't need any of that. Okay. Then I got on the collagen. That was the just amazing. I couldn't believe that I'm walking upright and not in, I mean, everybody that knows me knows that my knees separate and I get stuck places where I can't move, can't get up, can't put weight on my knees. My husband and everybody around me have to help me up out of every seat because I can't get up by myself. I've hurt my shoulder from pushing up on everything, right? September 1st, hit the ground running in the ministry, and people, my friends were saying, "You need to slow down. What are you doing?" Because they know if I do too much, I'm going to be down for maybe weeks at a time. But
So,
I mean,
so what happened? Tell us what you did. What made the difference?
I took the collagen. It was the collagen. When I started taking that collagen, it just, I don't know, I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't looking for it to do that. I just know how science works. And when I see you explain, when I see you and the doctor come on and explain and break down how something works, then I know that makes sense. So take it. I don't know what it's going to do, but I know it makes sense. So I decided to try it.
So are you saying that prior to your taking collagen daily, you couldn't stand up? You had to have assistance to stand up. Your knees were in pain. What, did you need knee replacement surgery or something? Was that, and you just didn't want to do it?
Right. Because I have so much nerve damage, they said that the recovery from the surgery would be so bad for me that they were just trying to avoid it as long as they could. They said, we're going to have to avoid this as long as we can because the recovery from the surgery would, the rehab, and the surgery was so damaging. So they said I wouldn't be able to do it. We knew that because of previous surgery. I had a torn meniscus. So I've been walking around with two torn meniscus and just bone on bone.
So you're bone on bone. And now are you telling me, you said that you got out of the car and went to the grocery store. So talk to us. Tell us what, you started taking collagen daily and now you're walking around.
Yeah. And my husband always has to go in and I have to sit in the car. And I tell you, he pulled up at the door and I said, I'm going in. He couldn't believe it. And then we went somewhere else. And so, look, it has not gotten worse. I keep looking for it to revert back, but it's not. I was on my feet a lot since September 1st. So yesterday, we were out a long time. And everybody kept saying, you better cool it. You're going to be down. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a day off. I took the day off, but I'm going back out tomorrow.
So you're out, you're literally walking around and back to yourself again. How long has it been since you've been walking around like this, Adelina?
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know.
5 years?
I mean, I still have pain in my body or, I still have pain, but it's nothing like suffering.
But you're walking around now.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you believe that it's because of collagen daily.
Oh yeah. And even when I sit, my knees would separate and I have to wait, straighten my leg out and try to knock it back in position. Both of them was doing that. It hasn't done that in what did I tell you, about 2 weeks? And that was like several times a day.
Wow.
When I would sit and bend my knees, it would separate. It would get dislocated.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
has not been dislocated now for about 2 weeks. I think it's been about a good 2 weeks.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that is the best thing because, it's been hard for me to get around.
Mm-hmm. Well, it can be debilitating if you're not in control of yourself and not able to use your limbs, and you're dependent on the others.
And I've fallen a lot also because
my
knees just give out.
Wow.
Yeah.
The things we take for granted. Well, Adelina, thank you very much for sharing your story. You're one of the first that is sharing with us a story other than the Michi Morris situation. So yours now is showing the benefits in the rest of the body, in the joints. So thank you very much. We look forward to hearing your updates on this. So make sure that you tell us, new things that you learn about how your body's working. Okay. All right. So, there you have it. And that's Adelina and Adelina's story. It's pretty amazing, to hear that someone in a very short period of time regained her mobility. Now, mind you, she was not on collagen daily for very long because the product had not been out for more than, I think, maybe 2 3 months, something like that. And so she went from being immobile and needing assistance just to stand up to being able to walk without any assistance whatsoever and regain a huge amount of her mobility as she described it. So very nice to hear a story like that. So let's I'm going to break off here for just a minute and first of all see if anyone has any particular questions first. So I give you that chance. You heard the story, and before going down the road that I'm planning to talk about, especially if I'm not sure if there's anyone that's new here or not. So even if you've been around for a while, you may have a particular question that you would like to have answered. So let's do that first before we go anywhere else.
Jonathan, I have a question.
Reed Houston, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
Not a single thing I'm willing to complain about. Thank you. Welcome.
God bless. God bless. But I have a question because my sister, she's been on the products since November. Now she had knee replacement, and she's not really seeing where it's doing her a lot of good. What has happened is she did have a stroke back in maybe October or even September. And what's happening with her, her doctor told her that in that particular leg, the vein is dead. And she's taking the EMFs, probiotic, and the collagen. And just today I was talking with her. She said it's really swollen and it's hard. And her doctors don't really seem to be concerned about it. They told her, oh, it'll be okay. And but she's been taking the products, and I've heard them mentioning that you can take and bust some of the EMF capsules open and mix it with coconut oil or virgin oil and spread it on there. Can you give me a little more in-depth on that, on maybe what she should do? Because today I did mention that to her, because she loves the collagen and all of that. And even the doctor that did that surgery, I don't know, he fled the country, okay? And she's got a suit in against him, but he fled the country.
Wow.
And so I was just wondering if you could give, some
Wow.
insight into that.
Okay. How old is she?
She is 83, I believe. And she could
83.
still get up and stand on it. She even drives,
Mhm.
but she uses a walker, but it just keeps swelling on her.
And how much is she taking?
I think she told me I told her go to 3 times a day. So she takes about 3 times a day.
So 5 capsules of EMF
Yes.
3 times a day.
Uh-huh.
And how much is she taking of the other items?
She does take the probiotics and the collagen. I believe I told her to up the collagen to twice a day. And even, the probiotic is what I meant, twice a day. And she could even do the collagen twice a day.
She
So,
absolutely should do the collagen twice a day.
okay.
No question about that. And if her budget will allow it, it would be good if she could even double up on the collagen. Did you hear Roberta Rice's story this past Sunday?
Oh, yes. Yes, I know Roberta.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Well, her what Roberta did helped, of course, with the pain and the inflammation tremendously
Mm-hmm.
because it concentrated the benefits of the EMF right there on the knee. So the formula for that is to take for every tablespoon of coconut oil, open up 3 capsules of EMF.
Okay.
And mix that together. So if she decides to make up a little jar with, say, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, then that would be 9 capsules of EMF.
Okay.
Then you make that into a paste. It should be kind of pasty-like, and put that in the inflamed areas, particularly on the knee.
Okay.
Wrap that up with saran wrap, and then
Saran
put a
wrap.
bandage around it, just like Roberta did.
Okay.
So
All
the way that she described it this past Sunday is a perfect way for being able to do it. So anybody who missed that, just go to this past Sunday's discussion and go, about 40 minutes into the program, and you'll get to Roberta Rice's story.
Okay.
And
Back door open.
Uh-oh.
let her let her play that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
But I would definitely increase the collagen.
Mm-hmm.
If she's doing 5 capsules of EMF 3 times a day, she could even increase that to 6 capsules 3 times a day. So, and it won't hurt her. She needs to get the inflammation down as quickly as possible. And the more collagen she gets into her body, the better her chances of her body healing.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna work with her.
All right.
Hey, thank you.
Keep us posted and let us know, how that goes for her. Okay.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Belinda has a question or a comment.
Yes.
There
Good
we
evening, everyone, and Brother
Good
Jonathan. I have really a family member that has congestive heart failure, and also they have breathing problems. So, what would be, and they have their fluid, they have fluid all over the body. They just came out the hospital, so a lot of the excessive fluid has gone down some, So what would you say for them to do, especially dealing with the excess fluid and and also for the congestive heart failure?
The excess fluid is definitely not a good thing. And how old are they?
65.
So young.
Yeah.
Excess fluid is not good. Congestive heart failure, obviously not good, and that's probably exacerbated by the fluid. So which one really came first, the chicken or the egg? Are they taking any of the Engage Global products so far?
Well, to be honest, they were taking it, and I was, giving them that my brother his medications, and then after that, after he would eat, give him his medications, and then give him the micro daily. Mostly the green, micro daily EMF, but most of the time in the mornings, I would just give them a hydro because it was easier with them, getting started for the day.
Right.
So now I had to start back because they just, got the hospital and
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get him on high dosages of it. Because he's at that point right now where the more he takes, the quicker his body will have, the better his chances are of healing.
okay.
Critically important in his case. Interesting that you would point this out, because I'm just going to do a quick screen share here, because one of the patents that the original micro MMF has on it, and we're talking about MMF. One of the original patents was it was a micronutrient formulation for pulmonary and heart health.
Oh wow.
So there are a lot of people who are claiming that their cardiologists are telling them that their heart has healed, and they don't understand how the heart has healed itself. So
Right.
that has been the case. And we have folks right now on this meeting right now who were diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and they might be willing to share their story right now and tell you the benefits that they found from it. But that's one of the original patents on the MMF product, is for the heart. Now, if the budget will allow it, Dr. Nkuzi has created a formula called lymphatic flush. It's a lymphatic flush product, and it does a great job of opening up all the fluid exit pathways, from the body. Because once a person is retaining fluid, that's not good. That's not good. Often it's because the lymphatic system is blocked. And that's often because a person has not been exercising, they've not been moving. So if they've been, leading a sedentary life, they need help getting that fluid moving through their lymphatic system. So that lymphatic flush has helped a lot of people. It's homeopathic, so it's just drops, so it doesn't contraindicate with anything. So you can also consider adding that to his protocol as well. So you'd have to give Anna a call in my office, and then she would help you get access to it. Okay.
Okay. So what is the information or the phone number or whatever?
You've never made contact with Anna, have you? Okay.
No.
I'm gonna put it in the chat so that way it's easier to
Okay.
grab it. All right. The website is amerixbio.com, and it's 754 300-8909. So you can get it. Just leave a message, text her, and just let Anna know what you're trying to get a hold of. But you can see it there on the website also. Okay, another website is lymphaticflush.com. Lymphaticflush.com takes you straight there.
Okay. And also, how much as far as the micro daily?
As much
EMF?
as the budget will allow. So like right now, I go 6 capsules 3 times a day, and be patient. Be patient. And if he can get up and move around, that's the best possible thing that he could do, is start walking.
Okay.
Okay. So any kind of movement will be very good.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Glad you raised the question. So
Yeah.
these are, and obviously, talk to your doctor. We keep emphasizing that important element, because the doctors are so important and invaluable. But when it comes to this nutrition stuff, the truth of the matter is, doctors get about maybe a week or 2 of training when it comes to nutrition. So that's not a major part of the curriculum when they're going to medical school. So nutrition might be maybe 9 hours total So the primary thing that doctors are trained when they go to medical school is how to prescribe medicine. That's really it. They have to learn the medicine and how to connect particular drugs to particular conditions. So their strength is not in not necessarily in tied to teaching you how to heal, teaching you how to make yourself better. One example I can share of that was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was having major problems. In fact, one time, I think this particular conversation centered around her being extremely constipated. And the doctor was just baffled and could not do anything at all to help her with it because nothing was working. And so finally she says, the doctor says to my mother-in-law, doesn't your son-in-law have something that could help you? No, excuse me. She said, you have to go to the health food store to find something for that. And so my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law said, well, what do we go to the health food store to get, to solve this? You're the doctor. We're asking you, what should we go to the health food store and get? She says, I don't know. And then that's when she said, doesn't your son-in-law have something that can help you? Can't he tell you what to do? And so they looked at each other and said, you just got to be kidding me. So of all things that you expect to hear from your doctor is to go talk to, the guy that stole your oldest daughter. Okay. So anyway, that's just me putting my little, plug in. So, but anyway, I had to still try to solve the problem kind of sideways. And my wife started sending her little bits of information about some things that would help her. And my mother-in-law was reading about it. So finally she called one day and she says, I'm reading about this. And Joanna said, I should ask you about, this particular thing. And I said, yes, ma'am. I've been trying to tell you about that for quite a while. She said, oh, you have? She said, yes. I said, well, you see what the computer is there in the kitchen? Yes. I said, walk over to the computer and open the cabinet on the left above the computer. This is all the way up in Boston. Open the cabinet on the left above. Okay. You see a bottle there, a green bottle? She said, yes. I said, now take that down and go take 3 of those little capsules right there. And she said, you mean this has been here all along? I said, yes, ma'am. I've been trying to tell you about it the whole time we were there last year. So the next day, she had the mother of all bowel movements. So now you want to talk about hilarious? They thought they were gonna have to call a plumber. So it was like total evacuation is what happened to her body. So, and you think that'd be enough to turn me into the resident expert, but no, I still got to prove myself over and over and over again. But that's okay, whatever it takes. She's 92 years old now. So she's been alive now for the past, 10, 15 years because she's been on supplements like Microdaily and other natural things that make all the difference in the world. And that's real. That's real. Yeah, it happened. So what is this? What are we talking about here? Are we talking about, something, some sort of a magic bullet, some magic pill, some special something? No. We're talking about this right here, daily nutrition. Because see, this woman here who's standing there with her arms in the air, like she's liberated, like she's having a eureka moment of her life. She's standing in the field. Now, that could easily be a wheat field. But if you know anything about wheat, you know that some brilliant scientists decided that they needed to somehow figure out a way to get 10 acres worth of wheat from 1 acre of land. Okay. So that's what they did. So you know what they did? They did something called GMO. You know what that stands for, right? The scientists sat down and figured out how to genetically modify the organism. They genetically modified it. And sure enough, they figured it out. They figured out how to make a normal grain of stalk of wheat produced 10 times the amount, or whatever the amount was that they were looking for. The goal was to make it so that people would not starve, really produce a massive amount of this product. Then they turned around and figured out, well, they didn't want to just make more of it. They wanted to make it now resistant to pests so that the insects couldn't eat it up. They also want to make it so that they could kill the weeds easier. So once again, they just genetically modified it, genetically modified it. And every time they genetically modified it, they improved it scientifically, but they also, oh, by the way, took out the nutrition. Little by little, the foods that we're eating is being stripped of its nutritional content. And there's evidence of that, by the way. You could do the research if you really want to dig deep enough on it. You could do the research on your own. But every time, well, wait a minute, let me just ask you. Does anybody remember crop rotation from school? Raise your hand if you remember being taught about crop rotation in school. Now that's going back a minute. Okay. You want to tell us how crop rotation worked, Melinda?
Yes, it's like 1 year I don't know exactly which different plant, but just say 1 year you'll plant corn, the next year you may plant collard greens, but you will constantly rotate the plants each year.
That's right. That's right. Very good. And the reason is because corn may strip the ground of certain nutrients that the collard greens would put back. So you're rotating it. There's certain things that each plant would take and give back to the land. So it was a constant rotation. So you weren't constantly overworking one particular piece of land. Well, they threw all that out the window. There's no such thing as crop rotation anymore. The government said that you can put down that wheat and you can grow wheat until the cows come home. Just wheat, corn, soybean. Just keep growing the same old thing. But you have to go back and spray the ground to put the nutrients back in the ground. Never mind the fact that the crop is taking 20-something nutrients out of the ground. They were only required to spray back in like 10 or 15 different nutrients. Only a very minimal amount of nutrients were required to be sprayed back into the ground to replenish it. No natural crop rotation, scientific crop rotation. Now, I told this one time to a group in Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, and it was a guy sitting on the front row. And I kid you not, I visibly saw this man's face change. I'm not usually keen to seeing people's face change, but this man's face changed. It's like it went flush white. And I said, whoa, what happened to you? What's wrong? He said, how did you know that? How did I know what? How did you know? He says, my job is to put the nutrients back into the ground after the harvest. He said, how did you know we only put back in a certain, forget what the number was. I said, it doesn't take rocket science. He said, well, what you just said is absolutely right. The crops take out 20 something and we only have to put back in 12 to 13 things. The food that we're eating has almost no selenium, and a lot of the other nutrition that we need from our food that we normally should be getting from our food, we don't get that anymore, folks. All because somebody decided to improve, re-engineer food. Some scientist came up with a better idea. That's where we are. So what Dr. Prasad did was he answered the call when the government decided that they wanted the soldiers on the battlefield to be better. They weren't looking for general citizens' health being better. They wanted something to make the soldiers on the battlefield healthier. And every vitamin company in the whole country had a chance to answer that call. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Only Dr. Prasad did. So the result of that was this product here called military micronutrient formulation. It was all about the troops on the battlefield. That's what it was about. It was originally formulated for troops. That's it. Not for the general public. It was not intended for you and me. Do you understand that, folks? We have something. This cat literally got out the bag. It wasn't about us, especially us average people. We weren't the target for this. The Department of Defense asked Dr. Prasad for help. And again, any vitamin company could have answered this or competed for this contract, but only Dr. Prasad stepped up and went through the whole trouble of completing animal studies, safety tests, human clinical trials, and eventually the product was made available for soldiers on the battlefield. And after the government had spent some $12 million, and then another 10 or $12 million came out of the private sector, then the government decided, yeah, they just dropped it. They literally dropped it. They dropped the product and no longer was making it available. And there's a whole long story behind what happened there, as I have been told. Because there's no documentation on it, but Dr. Prasad was there. So he knows the entire process and what was taking place as far as why this product was available and then not made available. But the point of it is, all of this happened. And as a result, Dr. Prasad and his products was awarded some 7 US patents. And this is the man right here. Now, we could sit here all day and talk about how incredible and how brilliant he is, but I want you to understand this particular point right here about this man. He was invited to be a member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee, candidates of medicine. And that by itself establishes his credentials. We don't need to say anything else about Dr. Prasad. Just that alone is powerful. Powerful testament as to exactly who this man is. He has written not 29, but 32 books, and he's working on number 33 right now and been published more than 250 times. That's what these products are that we have access to right now. He partnered up with David Nemelka, and now we have the product Micro Daily. So all of the science, the $24 million in research that was in MMF is right here in that green bottle, Micro Daily. That's what we have access to. And the ingredients doesn't look like anything special, does it? But pay attention anytime you see the word NRF2, NRF2. Anytime you see that, that's a big deal. Okay, that's a big deal. There it is again. There it is again. And there it is again. That's a big deal, folks. Anytime you see the word NRF2. Now you're saying to yourself, okay, what's so special about NRF2? Well, I can tell you this. You know the double helix in DNA, right? I think there's a picture of it in here somewhere. Let's see if we can find that picture of the double helix. Oh, similar, right there it is right there. There's a double helix, okay? This is DNA right here, see that? Well, at the very end of the DNA strand down here on the ends, there's something there called telomeres. Okay, they're little thingamajiggers like this. I'm really exaggerating this. All right, those telomeres are down there at the end of the DNA strand. Every single time your cells divide, you lose a little bit of the telomeres. It slices it right off. And it keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter until the whole thing is gone. Once we have no more telomeres, cells can't divide. That represents the end of life. So the faster our telomeres get shaved, the faster they get sliced off, the shorter our life is. Guess what slows it down? Anybody make a wild guess? What slows down shortening telomeres? Any guesses? No? Oh, come on. Somebody take a wild guess.
Micro Daily. Micro Daily.
Yeah. But let's be more specifics.
Free radicals.
Vitamin. How do you say it? Let it.
Nerf 2. Nerf 2 slows down the shortening of the telomeres is Nerf 2. And there's 4 different things in microdaily that activates Nerf 2. So now, Dr. Prasad, we're going to be talking about this on Sunday when we're talking about anti-aging, and you'll pick it up. So if you're really focused in, you'll understand that that's a big, fat, hairy deal right there. Okay? Something that activates Nerf 2 has a direct impact on the rate at which we lose telomeres. So if you can slow that rate down, what are you doing? You're literally slowing down aging. And this man put 4 different components in microdaily that activates Nerf 2. Keep that in mind. All right. So, not going to talk too much more about this. We're just going to wrap our discussion up and take some more of your questions. But this is the most advanced formula that Dr. Prasad has come up with. He added 4 additional ingredients to the formula to create the EMF formula, microdaily EMF formula. And the reason he did that is because today the 5G technology is 700 times more powerful than the original cell phone technology. 700 times more powerful. So we're being slammed, we're being bombarded by radiation, folks. Yeah, we're being bathed in it. And every single one of us has got a cell phone. You know, I told you guys I lost mine, and they didn't have any more 4G technology phones. So the only thing I could get was a 5G phone. So now I'm finally in that world where I'm being slammed by it also. So just one guess as to what you think I'm doing to make sure that that this does not create cancer in me. By the way, the World Health Organization has called cell phones a known carcinogen, just like cigarettes. It's in the same category as cigarettes, a probable carcinogen, I think is the way they put it. So it's in that same category. And one more little thing. The number 1 type of cancer in children today, it used to be leukemia. A few years ago, the World Health Organization announced that it was glioblastoma, or brain cancer, the number 1 form of cancer in children now. Ask yourself a question. Why are children now developing brain cancer more than leukemia? I'm not sure if anybody knows the answer to that question, but Dr. Prasad's EMF formula is in the children's gummy. So this is based on the EMF formula. So if you have children or grandchildren that you care about, you might want to get them on those gummies. My niece will never run out of gummies. She's my grandniece, actually. Cute little girl. And but we keep making sure that she has plenty of the gummies. At first she didn't like them, but she looks forward to them now. And very soon it was just announced that the hydro is going to come in the EMF formula. So that's on the way. So by July, we get the omega, and by July we'll have the hydro EMF also. So a couple good things that are in the pipeline for us. This is my second or third favorite product now, Brain Boost. 2 capsules of that in the morning makes it feels like a double shot of espresso. And there you go. It's all about less brain fog. And notice this, healthy brain aging. There we go. There's that aging thing again, folks. Aging, slowing down the aging process. Yeah. And oh, by the way, the EMF Hydro, I tasted it. I cannot believe how good it is. Cannot believe it. I was totally shocked. I just took an EMF just before this meeting. In fact, during Adelina's story, I took a capsule and I put it under my tongue. Doesn't taste very good, the regular EMF. But that Hydro EMF, I do not know how the manufacturer and Dr. Prasad did what they did, but it tastes like lemonade to me. So you just add it to a bottle of water, and tastes even better than the Hydro we have right now, to me. outstanding product. So I think they knocked that one out the park. So you can look forward to that. But this brain boost right here is that's the cat's meow. So make sure you add that to your auto ship. If you're not getting this, I suggest you add that. I think it's only about $40. So that was great. iBoost, you want to see an ultra high definition, you want to get this. And I think this is about $50 if I'm not mistaken. So, and the difference in the prices of the micro daily, the original is $59. The EMF, I mean, the methylated is $69, and the EMF is $79. So that's the difference. So, but this is the one my wife and I take is the EMF, because we're just being slammed with so much radiation nowadays. And one little quick story about these little rabbits right here. So there was a couple of rabbits that were taken for this trip to the Space Center in NASA, Houston Space Center. Houston, we have a problem. So these little rabbits, they watched the movie Apollo 13, so they want to hear some more about see the Space Center for themselves. So they fed them really, really well. So they had no idea that they were going there for more than just the Apollo 13 trip. They were actually going there so that they could contribute to science. They weren't going to pick their brains, they were going to pick their lungs, but they ate really, really well. So both of these two rabbits, this is bunny number 1 and this is bunny number 2. And then they both ate really, really well. So just feel good about that. The bunnies had really, really good meals, except one of these two bunnies was given the food that's missing from food. Now, how many of you think it was bunny number 1 that was given the food that's missing from food? Just raise your digital hand. How many think it was bunny number 1 that was given the food that's missing from food? How many think it was bunny number 2? Okay, Sonia thinks it was bunny number 1. Okay. All right, so put your hand back down now, Sonia. And now who thinks that bunny number 2 was given the food that's missing from food? Belinda thinks it was number 2, and everybody else is sitting on the fence. Oh, Marie thinks it's number 2. Melanie thinks it's number 2. Sonia, you changed your mind? You changed your mind now because everybody else picked number 2. You ain't gonna go with number 2. You don't want to be left out, huh? Okay, gotcha. So you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right, Sonia. It was bunny number 2 that was given the food that's missing from food. See, when they went there to check on that Apollo 13 mission, they both ran into something called a radiation generator. And the highest, most powerful radiation devices in the country is found there at the Houston Space Center. So they were bathed with lethal doses of radiation, both of them. It killed them, but they ate good. So keep that in mind, they ate good. So when they dissected them, bunny number 1, his lungs looked like this. Looked like he was a smoker, doesn't it? That's what it looks like. But bunny number 2, shockingly, his lungs looked like nothing ever happened. Fresh, pink. So my question to you is, do you think it makes sense to put the food that's missing in our food in your diet? I think so. I think so. If there's any chance that something can have that effect while we are all walking around like we've been to the NASA Space Center and every day being slammed with radiation. And by the way, we do not know. Most of the time, the effects of radiation is undetectable until we're sick and untraceable. You can have health problems and have no idea where it came from. And it could all go right back to being constantly exposed to radiation. So we're very fortunate to have access to these products that can help us with that. But still, one of my favorite things on this page before we wrap out our discussion is patent number 7605145. It's one of my favorite things because this is what got my attention. This is why I aligned myself with Engage Global. It's because of that original patent for MMF that includes the words, look at it carefully, treatment of diabetes mellitus. I've never seen any nutritional supplement given a patent with the words treatment of diabetes in the title. Never. And I don't think any of them exist. So maybe there is something out there. I don't know. This one hasn't. And all you got to do is take 2 or 3 capsules 2 or 3 times a day. And it's doing amazing things, especially for type 2. diabetes. Okay, so there's a little bit of an explanation as to how and why Micro Daily is the answer. And I think that it is the solution to all that ails us in many respects. I personally believe that if a person wants to feel better, they now have a choice. You know, it's a decision. It's no longer we have to be just accept the status quo. We don't have to just accept it anymore. We are at a point now in life and in human history where we can choose to feel better. And it's as simple as deciding to put back into our diet the food that's missing from food. Okay. So if you're here for the first time, just get back with the person who invited you, and they will help you to set up your own wholesale account for these amazing products. And it's not difficult. I would highly recommend that what you do is you set up a subscription for it, because once you set up a subscription, you're getting it for the same price that affiliates get it for, number one, but you're actually getting a better deal because you're building up reward points also. So as you build up rewards points, you get free product. So I got a lot of clients who did not quite understand that rewards points thing. And after 6 months, maybe a year or so, they look in their account, they got $400 and $500, you know, sitting in their account. So they were able to buy all kinds of product, you know, the collagen daily, the probiotics, extra EMF, you know, so those rewards points, they add up. So don't you kid yourself with that. I use credit cards now when we buy all of our products and anything. We use credit cards because, you know, with credit cards, you build up rewards points every single time you're going to make a purchase now. How nice it is to be getting $12 off, $15 off, 20% off, just, you know, all kinds of free stuff because you're building up rewards points. Well, Engage Global has built-in rewards points into your subscription for as a customer or an affiliate, by the way. So if you guys don't all have your subscriptions in place, you're leaving money on the table, by the way. So anyone who does not have a subscription right now, you're leaving money on the table. So take advantage of it and then go back in and check your rewards points. And if you're not paying attention to it, go back in and check your rewards points. So you could very well be entitled to some free product. Okay. So let's see if there's a quick question or two. We can address your quick question or two before we pull the plug. So if you got a quick question or two, now is your chance. Now is your chance. Now is your chance. No?